this video every year, I would have these questions looked up ahead of time. But no, we're on YouTube trying to find someone who put the questions in their description. Hello, my lovely friends, it's Margaret. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're gonna see if I have been keeping up with my reading goals for 2022. I refuse to do this tag until we have gotten all the way through the first 6 months of the year. And so here we are in July doing this tag, finally, just finally, having the energy and the mental capacity to do this tag and the time. We are going to do a little bit of a mid-year check-in. We're going to take a look at what my reading goals were for the beginning of the year, and then we're going to move into the freak out tag. I don't know if I need, do I need books for any of these questions? I'm not sure. I did not prep this ahead of time, so you're getting my honest reaction to a tag that I do every year. I should honestly know better than this by now. Have you seen the video where I set up my reading journal back in August? No, you have not. But I have my reading journal here with my goals page, and we're going to take a look at where I was at the end of June. If you want to go refresh your mind on what my reading goals were for the year of 2021, 2022, go ahead, go up here. Y'all have 2021 in your description. You're confusing me. Speaking of, if I can find the videos for the original creators, I will go ahead and link them down in the description box. This is a tag that goes around booktube, and I don't know if either of the original videos are still up. I know one of them had been taken down as of last year, and one was still up, but that may not be the case any longer. So if they are still available, I will have them in the description box so you can go watch the original video, but I will also have the questions in the description box so that if you can't find the original video, you have access at least to the questions. My main goal every year is to read 100 books. As of June 30th, I was at 48. How we're doing now, because it's July 24th and I have yet to finish a book, how we're doing still, don't know. But as of June 30th, I was relatively close to that end of the year goal. My second goal for 2022 is to read 6 series, and as of June 30th, I was at 2 that I made progress in January, so I should probably get to working on that one. Next goal, I wanted to read 20 science fiction books. I was at 5. I also am supposed to read 36 books from my physical TBR, and I have read, at this point, 8 of them. Half of 38 would be 18, so we probably should focus on that goal some more this year. I probably need to just, sit down and, deal with some of these reading goals. And then the one goal that I have hit out of the park, completed, we're done. We were done in June, is I am supposed to do 6 buddy reads every year. Well, no, this year I wanted to do 6 buddy reads. It's a carryover from last year because I didn't do any buddy reads last year. I have, as of June, hit all 6 of those. And then the other goal that I do every year, in addition to by reading 100 books, half of those books need to be by POC authors. We're currently at 23, so we're 2 books short of our yearly goal and 2 books short of that goal. That is not terrible. I can fix that. We can fix that very quickly. It's those other 2. Anybody have any recommendations for science fiction by POC authors? I will take the recommendations. Moving forward to the tag, let's start looking at some of these questions. So, best book you've read so far. This is why I should have looked at these ahead of time. Here is the problem. When you ask me things like that, I immediately forget every single book I have ever read. I am torn between 2. There is Iron Widow by Shiran J. Zhao. That was such a ride. It is so good. It is so angry. I loved it. But also, as a theater nerd, If We Were Villains is just a masterpiece. It made me feel things. It's just the execution of that book and the setting and how everything happened. So many feelings with that book and then that ending. And I have an entire vlog where I talk about my feelings about that book, along with 5 other dark academia books that many of them were very good, so I highly recommend checking them out. If you're looking for a nonfiction, The Five by Hallie Rubenhold. The Five is about the women that were killed by Jack the Ripper, and it is a historian actually going through the records and seeing what we can actually figure out about them and coming to a slightly different conclusion than people who only have access to, like, various newspaper clippings of the time. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that people don't take into context when they are talking about these women and Jack the Ripper, and a lot of the time they just get dismissed as prostitutes, and she wanted to sit down and she does so much work going into their backgrounds, going into their work, and all of that good stuff. Very good if you're looking for a nonfiction recommendation. Also extremely accessible in my opinion. It's not a lot of jargon. It's her talking to you about what it was like for women in Victorian England, and she does it in a very conversational manner. She also has a podcast, if that's your thing, where she covers the same material. Iron Widow by Xiran Zhao is a YA science fiction retelling of the reign of Empress Wu Zetian. She was an empress in China, and there's a whole bunch of even if you don't want to read the book, I'm gonna link Xiran Zhao's videos about this woman. Like, I knew about her before I started reading the book and before I found these videos. Like, she is one of the most famous figures in Chinese history that you hear about a lot. She's just, it was even wilder than I thought it was. It's just, her life is wild. I will link that video down below. Editing Margaret is gonna hate me, it's fine. And then If We Were Villains is a dark academia about 6 students at a very secluded theater college. It's an arts college, but they're specifically doing the theater part, and it is a murder mystery. Lots of stuff happens. It is so well done, and if you are a Shakespeare nerd, if you're any sort of theater person, you will read it and you will go, I know these people. I have been in shows with these people. Second question is, what is the best sequel you've read so far in 2022? I have not read. I think it might just have to be but I've also been reading Full Metal Alchemist. We're gonna have to go, because this is a brand new one, and I loved it. We're gonna actually go with, where is it? Why is it not here? Batman Dark Victory by Jeff Loeb, art by Tim Sal. Long Halloween is one of the most classic Batman comics to come out of the 90s. It is such a quintessential Batman comic. The art, the mood, the way that the story is structured, and all of that. And Jeff Loeb and Tim Sal come back in Dark Victory, which is the sequel, and they just take all of that and they make it just that much more personal to the characters. It also has a very soft spot in my heart because it's where we get to meet, in this particular iteration of Batman at least, we get to meet baby Dick Grayson, who I love. He is one of my favorite characters. If I had to choose between him and Batman, I'm going with Nightwing. I just loved the parallel we got between this 10-year-old Dick Grayson and flashbacks that Alfred was having of 10-year-old Bruce, and him going, doing that thing that grandparents do where he's like, I have been through this before. I know what went wrong. I'm gonna try and correct those mistakes in this child. And it's just it gives you such a good justification for Bruce being like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll let you fight crime, because that little chaos goblin was like, I am going to get myself killed trying to avenge my parents. And Bruce is just like, oh my god, why did I adopt a circus child? I love it. A new release that you have not read but want to, from 2022. Do I have it? Once Upon a K-Prom by Kat Cho. I am so excited for this book. I've had very good experiences with this author. Her book, Wicked Fox, was one of my favorite books of 2021. And so I'm just super excited. This is a contemporary, from what I understand, where this girl's friend from a long time ago, who is now a K-pop idol, comes back and asks her to prom. It's her childhood best friend coming back to keep a promise that they made to each other when they were young children before he moved away and became famous. And so I have been wanting to get, look at how gorgeous this cover is. I'm just super chaotic right now. I'm sorry. I have just been wanting to get to this since it came in my mail, and this is the one book I pre-ordered this year. That tells you how hyped I was about it. I should probably also pre-order the other book that I'm super hyped about. I just am really bad at doing that. Here's the thing about pre-orders. Pre-orders, I have to wait. Why I care about the wait, since I haven't read the book yet. Why I care about the wait, I don't know. But like, I'm one of those people that likes to be able to get it the day it releases, especially if it's an anticipated release, which I think we're going to talk about that one next. So let's just, that's the next question, right? Yes, that is the next question, is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. The Luminaries by Susan Dennard. I am waiting for the next Witchland book with bated breath. But that's a whole other thing. I also was a part of like that Twitter thread that Susan Dennard had going a very, very long time ago. It was 2020, I think. I love that story. And so I would love to see what like the actual vision she has for that book. And I'm very, very excited about this book. I cannot wait to read it. Number 5 is, what was your biggest disappointment? I am not going to go off on this book again. I've done that. I have done that. But it is Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. I just have issues with lazy writing in the book. And I know people are going to disagree with me and tell me that it is not lazy writing. But with one of the characters, it literally just felt like she gave up with that character and got tired of that storyline in the book. And delivered on none of the promises that were made, and did not get the reader, or me as a reader, to the new places. And like I said, I know people are going, like, she did that with 2 of the other main characters that ended up in very different places and with very different goals than they had at the beginning of the series, but she did not with one of them, and that is the character that started basically everything. So I just, if you want my ranty thoughts, you can go watch my wrap-up. Hopefully I will not regret that. But yeah, you can watch that. You can also watch Kara over at Wild Book Gardens. I'll have it linked in the description box. You can watch Kara at Wild Book Gardens video. We have very similar thoughts. She was able to put words to some of her feelings about the book, or some of her feelings in a way that I was not able to, because it just, the way people reacted to me not liking what she did and my feelings on how that affected my opinion of her writing was, it wasn't fun. It really was not fun. It made me feel like I didn't know what I was talking about, and made me feel like I was stupid, and I don't like feeling that way, especially because I know I am not stupid, and I do know what I'm talking about, and I shouldn't have to read 12 books to be able to have an opinion on a series. So, anyways, the biggest surprise of the year. Okay, that's a very good question. Biggest surprise of 2022. Give me a second. I'm looking through here. There weren't really any books that surprised me this year. Were there? I feel like one of these had to have done that, but I'm not, nothing is hitting the noggin. Like, there weren't even any bad surprises. Like, all of these were basically what I expected of them. You have to understand, I go into most books with pretty low expectations unless I already have had certain things established. So there was one I did want to talk about, though, that I was like, oh, that might be a good one to talk about. No. There were no, I have not been surprised by a book as of yet this year, apparently. I guess we move on to the next question, my friends. Number 7 is favorite new author debut or new to you. How many new authors did I read? Have I read any new authors this year? That's a very good question. I could say Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall, because technically I haven't read her books before this year. However, I've been following her for a very long time. So, like, does that count? I guess we could say Jiran J. Zhao, because I really did enjoy Iron Widow, and I am really interested. Oh, Jesus, that ending. I'm flashing back to the trauma of that ending. Like, I knew, because if you don't see the body, but still had me concerned, slightly concerned. Number 8, newest fictional crush. I don't do this, guys. I don't do this. I have like 3 fictional crushes, and Only one of them is new. That one's about 2 years old. 9, newest favorite character. I am realizing I don't have a lot of favorites this year. I haven't had any of those moments with the books that I have read this year. Like, I've had a lot of characters that I enjoyed and I liked, and it was like I had a good time reading, but there's nobody that like no one that I'm like, oh my god, it's Percy Jackson. Like, nobody on that level, and I feel like you have to be at that level. Wow, this is a very illuminating, what's the word, dear God? Very illuminating look at my reading year. Yeah. Number 10 is a book that made you cry. I don't cry with books. I get mad, but I don't cry. Book that made you happy. That I can do. I'm gonna say A Million Quiet Revolutions by Robin Gao. It is ironic that I just turned this into the library yesterday. When I needed it for a video. This is, again, you can look. I read it in June, so you can see more thoughts in my wrap up. But this was just so sweet, and the way that the story was done so well, and the ending of the story was just like. It was a good ending. It was wonderful. It was heartwarming, and it was slightly unexpected. I like knowing what the book was about. It's about 2 trans teens, and them kind of coming out as trans in their final year of high school. Not sure how it was going to end, and I was braced. And it was a good book. It was a good book, and it left me feeling very happy inside. Number 12 is favorite book to film adaptation you saw this year. I mean, does the Batman count? Because I really enjoyed that. That was so well done. It was so obvious that it was its own thing, that it was not a direct recreation of any specific comic. But the ties to very, very popular, very, very well-known, iconic Batman moments in his early career were very apparent. Like, I was able to just, like, we're watching it, I'm like, oh, they got that from that, they got that from that. Like, they just pulled so many, they made its own thing, and I loved it so much. I did a whole video on the comic books that inspired the Batman, so you can go watch that as well if you are interested. And yeah, I think they did a really good job of adapting Batman to the screen yet again. And I think this might be the best job that they have done as of yet, because I think they do get parts of Bruce's personality and parts of who he is as Batman that we didn't see in the Dark Knight trilogy or in the DCEU, the newer ones with Ben Affleck. So I really appreciate that. Favorite video you have done so far this year? I mean, that's probably just because the moment that happens in it was my July TBR. Just because, that's a silly one for me to say, because that's not going to get any, like, eyes on any videos that I really want people to watch. But, like, just that moment where I was like, please be a 1, and it was a 1. Only time you will ever see a tabletop RPG person excited about getting a 1. At least them getting a 1. But, like, I love that. Are there any other videos that I want you guys to check out? Okay, so, a couple things. Technically, it's not this year, but I am still really proud of the fact that I came up with my own TBR game. So I'm really happy that I got Fabelin going. And there are lots of videos. There's an entire playlist for Fabelin if you want to see how that journey has been. But, like, it was a good decision. I'm really glad I did that. And then the other thing that I wanted to shout out, where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. The other thing, I did a, like, weekend reading, like, read with me, like a weekend read with me, and I really liked how that turned out. Took so much effort to edit and for me to get the editing right, and there are so many things that I would do differently, but you live and you learn, and I'm really, really excited, or not excited, I'm really proud of that video. 14 is most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. Well, we did show you Once Upon a K-Prom. Do I have anything that, like, stands up to that? I haven't read it yet, and I need to, because Margaret's need to stick together. But look at this. Do you see that? Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. I have really no idea what this is about, except that there is a girl that was raised by gods and she's been cursed and some other things. And I do believe that there are occasionally illustrations in the book. See that? Look at that. I don't know if that's spoilery. Do I? I have no idea. But, like, look at that. How How gorgeous is that? I need to read this. So, anyways, eventually I will. And then the final question is books you need to read by the end of the year. Ooh, hey, I can pull out my reading journal for this again. Let's see. There is an entire video of books that I need to read by the end of the year, or they self-destruct. I think they actually self-destruct if I don't read them by August, not October. But then I do have a list of books I want to read. I have an arc of Pretty Dead Queens by Alexa Dunn. I am so excited to get to this. This is another one of my most anticipated reads for the year. I need to get to that. I definitely do. I also... Yeah, I need all of the books that are on my physical TBR. Oh, I do need to read, hold on. I also need to read all of the Aru Shah books by the end of the year. If you don't know, me and my friend Michelle are doing a read-along where we're reading through all of the Rick Riordan Presents series chronologically, because we are both very, or at least I am very bad at keeping up with them. And so we were like, hey, do you want to just read these and do a read-along and let people, because I know there is another one that started like last year or a couple of years ago. So if you're further, like you've read, you may want to check that one out instead, because we're starting at the beginning and just going through the series. If you haven't been reading the Rick Riordan Presents books, you can join us. Okay, so that is the mid-year freak-out tag, and I'm mildly freaking out. We definitely need to focus on some things and get ourselves back on track. And maybe finish some books this month, please, and thank you. Oh my god, I'm in the middle of so many books, right? Not even the middle. Some of them I just started and I haven't finished them. I just started them. I would love to know what books you need to read, or a book that you need to read by the end of the year. If you're feeling so inclined, go ahead and leave that for me in the comments. If you are not feeling chatty, but you still want to let me know that you watched the end of the video, go ahead and give me the check mark emoji, since we're talking about goals and all of those good things. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I'll have other videos over here that you may enjoy as well. I'll have that, whatever I mentioned first video up here, and I will have whatever is newest on my channel down here. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!